Okay, so what we have here is the leg press. So like anything in this gym, it's absolutely beautiful, but the setup for the leg press is really important. Now for every exercise it's important, but initially for this one, because if you are quite a short person, you need to make sure that this setup is correct, because there's a little lever here that can bring it forwards. Then also if you're a little bit taller, backwards there. But again, before you get into the machine, make sure you know where this is at, because if you're a shorter person getting into the machine and we're already on these safety hinges here, then you're not going to be able to set up and you're going to be leaving, you know, you're going to maybe injure yourself. So make sure that you do everything right in terms of setup. So if you're shorter, make sure you bring that towards you, then also lower this as well on these safety guards. Then you're going to be able to get in and then just perform the exercise, rather than putting on all the weight and then doing the setup. You know what I mean? So start off with the setup first, safety pins, then the weight, and then you're not going to leave yourself having to take everything off and set yourself up, or, you know, jarring your knee, trying to alter this and everything else. So perfect setup, alter the bench, alter this, then the weights. Really important, not just about foot position, but also where you're putting your back, because if you're lifting off this seat and your lower back isn't against it, you're going to be putting your lower back in a really vulnerable position, and over time what you're going to see is you're going to run into back pain or anything like that. That is not what we want. You know, there's something that I am proud of, and touch wood that it never happens, in my whole career of fitness, bodybuilding, football. I won't say fighting yet, because it could be. I've never been injured. I've warmed up right. I've done every setup right. And, you know, there's been a few times in my younger days where I probably got away with things, but over as I've got older, doing everything right and making sure that the setup's right, I'm warmed up, I'm good to go. You know, you won't get injured and you'll be good to go. That old saying of like, oh, over time you're going to wear and tear, possibly, yeah. But also if you're doing things wrong, you're going to have a fast track there as well. So make sure that you do everything right, then you're not going to get injured, you're warmed up and you're ready to go. And it's just common sense. Really, before squatting, I would like to add some sort of initial blood flow and make sure that my hips are warmed up, my knees are warmed up. So how you can actually do that is by starting off with the abductors and lying hamstrings, or a hamstring exercise, and then an isolation exercise on the quads. Then everything is going to be warmed up. You know, you're going to have blood running right through before you're going on to any compound exercises. However, obviously depending on your goals and what you're trying to do, but if you are in this gym and you are trying to get fat loss, and you are trying to retain muscle mass, and you are trying to just generally push yourself in a way with these machines, I would highly recommend that you do some isolation exercises before you do any compound exercises. Or if you're going to just dive right into the compound exercises, you need to make sure that you're building up the weight, you've done some form of cardio beforehand, or you have a very, very good warm up with some dynamic stretches, and then you're going into the leg press here as well. So let's do the foot position on the leg press now. So again, what am I trying to work here? I want to try and work some quads, and I want to try and work some glutes. If I just wanted to activate glutes, I could go nice and wide here, as simple as that. And I'm just going to unclip. So we're going to have toes slightly outwards again, knees are going to follow the grooves of the toes. So this is for glutes and hamstrings. So my hamstrings are quite tight now, I can feel the activation in there. So I'm going to make sure that I drive from the heel as well, just to make sure I get the very best out of myself in terms of glute activation there as well. So down and up. But you see how my lower back isn't lifting off? It's just my legs. So this is a glute and hamstring more dominant exercise. So now I'm just going to clip it on there, and we're going to move further in with the footing. So again, footing for quad activation, more so you want to obviously come a little bit further in. We don't want to be as wide. We're going to bring it in a little bit. So around about shoulder width apart. Again, toes slightly outwards. Knees are going to follow the grooves of the toes. Common mistakes, again, knees coming in, knees going wide, foot position all over the spot, not getting the full range of motion. So sometimes I see this with leg press. This is really frustrating to watch as well. Not that I watch everyone's exercises or anything like that, just to correct you. But common mistake, short range of motion. Short range of motion, you know what I mean? Not getting anything really that you could really get out the exercise. And, you know, to be honest, just cheating yourself, and just because there's loads of weights on, you just try to look good and ego lifting. So let's try and get the very basics right. So we're going to make sure that the feet correct, and then we're going to get the full range of motion. So down, hold, pause, and then drive right through. I wouldn't initially lock this out. I would not lock your knees out. You're putting yourself in a very, very vulnerable position. I've seen lots of videos, nightmare videos. It's not something I do. It's not something I would recommend. A lot of people do it, but I just wouldn't for safety reasons. Just make sure that you keep a slight bend in the knees. You know, you can lock them out slightly, but I would just try and keep a slight bend in your knees to the very best of your ability. So all we're going to do here is down, driving from the heel as well, all the way up. So again, get a nice little pause in the bottom, hold, and then drive. So nice slow negatives coming down. Remember, the negative is, you know, the strongest part of the movement here. You know what I mean? Really, really trying your best to make this as hard as you possibly can for yourself. Then when you're in the pause, keep the glutes activated, the quads activated, then drive from the glutes, from the heel, then into the pad itself. And then that's going to get the very best out of your exercise. So just again, I'm down, nice and slow on the negative. I'm thinking, right, activate glutes, drive from the heel, into the pad, bang, right out there, squeeze, hold, and we're just going to continue them reps.